And welcome back. And I have Miguel here, and Miguel is in the middle. No, Miguel finished the interview, the first 12 weeks of the new school. So last week, congratulations, Miguel.
Thank you, Fallon.
So let's acknowledge yourself for all the transformations and the changes that you've made in the last 12 weeks. What area do you want to start with?
Uh, so I think first off, the relationships have gotten much better, and moving away from being in toxic or narcissistic relationships, and uh, setting up boundaries with people letting them know how I want to be treated as an individual, and specifically with close family members and other people. And it's striking because when people start notice that you're standing up for yourself, they really start to recognize that, and they're kind of taken aback that you're standing up for yourself, and they're not not everyone is always happy, um, but it's really helpful for me to notice the change and to not being taken advantage of anymore.
Yeah, good, 100%. And what do you think is different this time with boundaries now that you did the program versus last time? Is it like kind of reminding you, so it's making you do it a little bit deeper or more, or you're understanding them a little bit more, or is it just like a reminder?
No, I think I'm understanding it deeper. I think I've, uh, especially working with my cohort and others than them talking about how they want to be treated. I felt even more compelled to set up boundaries with other people. So that was really helpful to have a community of people with me talking about how I should, how they feel they should be treated and how they reached out to people. And and then allowing me to feel empowered to enforce that with others, and to let them know how I didn't want to be treated and how I wanted to be respected. So, like I said, it's not always going over well with people because they get taken aback that you're standing up for yourself. But it's ultimately it's great and it's empowering.
100%. How would you describe that feeling of empowerment?
It's great because I think during the relationship with a toxic and narcissistic manipulative person, I felt taken advantage of and very vulnerable and raw, especially when someone's psychologically manipulating you. Um, it doesn't feel good because it doesn't feel like a natural relationship where, people are doing things out of the kindness of their heart and allowing to be vulnerable with one another where someone is actively taking advantage of you. So, and, you know, that happens a lot where especially in the city where people are trying to do that. It's happened a lot, especially in the financial industry where everyone is kind of at odds with each other and everyone's looking out for themselves, which is, it's understandable in New York. But I feel like if people understood that we could get along better by just saying, hey, this is how I need to be treated, instead of being so at odds with each other. So it feels good. I feel better for it.
Awesome. And I really like that you said that about the community because I always compare this program to therapy because with therapy, you're like, one on one, but having that community, even if it's less accountability than a one on one coach or one on one therapist in a way, it really inspires you to do more. Like, they say that you retain like 80 to 90% more when you're in a group or a community. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree with that too, right? So that's something I've noticed. Uh, it's important for me if you see other people, it'll empower you, and just like letting them know that other people have gone through these things is very helpful because everyone goes through really tough things. And when they told you, oh, hey, I've gone through this or I'm going through this, then you can relate. And it makes you even more empowering. And, you can feel vulnerable with those people too.
Absolutely. Yay. And what is your second favorite area that you've had some movement in the last 12 weeks?
I think working on my business, I've gotten more excited about it. That kind of dropped off too during the summer. I'm back in the beginning of this new year. I've launched already 2 blog posts, and I'm getting back into the business. And it's when you're creating something for yourself, as you know, Fallon, it can be a very daunting task. So having people around you that make you feel empowered to do something is really great. So that makes me feel happy and excited.
Awesome. And I just noticed such a big difference in you with like being more direct and speaking up for your needs and speaking up exactly what you want. Like, I think that's been a huge thing that I've noticed with you too, like being more articulate about like exactly, the facts and things like that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel and I feel still a bit more vulnerable, I think, sometimes asking that, but I've found, because maybe again, you have that person in the back of your mind that saying, no, what if this happens? Well, just go and do it, and maybe you're not even gonna get the result that you expected, and the person is gonna respond in a totally different way. And even between you and me, I've done that, and I didn't think you would respond like that, and you responded in a totally different way, and that was really great. So that let me know it working when the relationship I have with you is even working on that basis.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that. Like, that's why I always tell students, and you're my friend too, but which is always challenging when you coach friends because of the boundaries. But I think we've done a good job so far. And I always tell my students, set boundaries with me. Like, it's good practice. You know what I mean? And I don't know what you expected from me, but I feel like we always expect the worst. You know what I mean? Like when we say our needs or set boundaries and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not that I want to expect the worst. I just, you I don't want to hurt another person's feeling almost too. You feel like that. But I do want to voice my needs. And if I feel like I've been, uh, you know, you know, uh, hurt a certain way or feel a certain way, I definitely need to communicate that. And that's allowed me to do that as well.
Yeah. And I notice it like it's so vulnerable. Like I'm in a new relationship, a new old relationship, and like I hate it. I gotta be like, can you please answer this text that I sent you today? And then like later I was like, can you please answer that one text? I really needed like, your acknowledgement. And it could be something stupid like I drank enough water today. And I just want someone to go like, yay. And then, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll try to respond in the morning. And that's what makes a difference when people respond to your needs, right? So it's just noticing who responds to your needs, how they respond, who doesn't. But I hate it. It's like so freaking vulnerable to ask for our needs because we can be rejected. But that's the only way that, or we can be interpreted as reject. We can interpret it as
Yeah.
right, even if it's not personal at all, because
Mhm.
everyone's just projecting their own stuff. But it's so vulnerable, but it's like literally the only way that we get our needs met because people aren't mind readers and they don't know.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And sometimes it's difficult, especially maybe even with someone you've had a difficult past with, or um, it's challenging to talk to them because of things that are going on. And sometimes just saying, look, what I did was wrong, or hey, I need this from you. And it's been very helpful, and I've noticed it. I mean, I just this past week, I can tell you, 3 or 4 different experiences.
Yeah. Any you want to share? I don't know if you can share it in a vague way. I mean, it doesn't have to be vague, but
Sure.
your own.
No, I mean, with some friends, I even had done something, and they came up to me, and actually, since the program, I know that I started to change, and those people came up to me and were started to feel comfortable with me and saying, "Hey, I don't really like when you whisper in my ear." Oh, no problem. I didn't realize that was an issue for you. I'm happy. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. You're my teammate. Like if it's like an activity that I'm doing, or you know, I made someone feel really bad last night, and I wasn't trying to. I was trying to help. I had like an overall thinking, and they just said, "Hey, actually, it got really heated, and I just maintained my stance, and I listened to them and tried to be understanding." And at the end of the night, I said, "Hey, look, you know, I know you interpreted this way, but I didn't mean it like that." So, uh, and then just communicating with some people, right? And I think people start understanding like your time is very important. And when they see you changing, right, you're not doing the useless activities that you used to do, and like your addictions, right? You're working on yourself, and then they see that, and then they're more likely to talk to you or do stuff for you and be helpful. So it's that's what's really great too.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think it takes like such a like a bigger person to admit when they're wrong. You know what I mean? Like and it could just be like you said, I didn't mean to make you feel like that and that wasn't my intention, right?
Hmm.
I think it's just really really awesome to take responsibility like that because a lot of people, you know, have so much shame or self-doubt or hate themselves so much that it hurts them too much to admit that they made a mistake, you know?
Hmm.
And I remember my first somatic experience. Therapist was like, I fuck up all the time, like, and wrong again, and that's okay. And I'm allowed to feel bad if I mess up, and I'm so sorry. And I just couldn't believe when I was younger because my ego was so strong about how easily she admitted that, and like how freeing it is to just be like, yep, I'm not perfect. Yep, I messed up. I'm sorry. And like the same thing that we go over with the restoring integrity, it's like, you know, acknowledging the impact on someone, and it's the hardest thing to do, you know, like all the ways that we affect other people. But once we do that, it's like we're liberated.
Hmm.
Awesome. Anything else that you want us to know about how you transformed?
Yeah, relationships have got better. I met someone that it started going very well, and then and we are talking to each other, and it's kind of blossomed into something that's really nice. So, and we, you know, I think I talked with someone else who was leading the program, and she said, "Oh, am I deserving of the things this person is doing for me? That they're all really nice." And I had the same question, right? Because this person was started doing really nice things for me and really kind things for me. Excuse me. And I was questioning, like, am I worthy of this? And yeah, I am, and all humans should be, right? We should be able to be loved and treated and respected in a kind manner. And you know, we're not perfect, right? And it's okay to make mistakes. And acknowledging that, you know, I was making some food with her, and she messed up the recipe. And I said, "Hey, look, don't worry about it. You know, I'm here. I'll help you. We'll fix it together." And we had a great meal. You know, I made chicken parmesan. We had a fantastic meal for New Year's, and you know, that's ultimately what it's about, right? You know, and so that feels good. That felt really good.
That makes me so happy. So, what are your goals for the next 12 weeks?
Some of the goals that I have is to, I think for me, I really need to focus on my finances and put my head down. I keep um, ignoring that, and that's one of my biggest things that I need to focus on. Um, I, I, I do admit that I need to. And I'll be the first to say this, right? Um, when I do more of the New You program, I succeed more, and I, I I did procrastinate a little bit, right? And but when I did like the Mary Kondo method of cleaning my stuff, I felt great. You know, it was like, you know, I'd done it before, but it just feels good again, right? To clean your stuff and to get stuff out, remove like old stuff and then like papers. So that's really important. And then, you know, I think really continuing to build off the success that I've had, right? I feel like my weight is somewhat comfortable right now. I've started working out again more, right? So that's really good. I also do my own meditations in addition to the meditations you teach us. I think continuing to focus on the meditations that you've given us will really be really helpful too, right? So like in times if I'm nervous and I think that someone might respond a certain way, I use those meditations. I actually have been using them, right? In um, times where things have gotten heated with other people. And so just things like that. Um, and, you know, uh, I think that those are really good starts. And I obviously want to continue progressing, but I think that's right. Finances, relationships, setting boundaries, meditation, um, and health.
Awesome. Let's talk about health. How much weight did you lose the first time you did the new nutrition?
So I lost 20 pounds. I went from 165 to 145. I haven't weighed that much probably in like a good 10, 15 years. And like I could see my abs again. So that was really great.
Awesome. Great. And anything else you want to acknowledge yourself for?
Uh, I'd like to just acknowledge myself for keeping at it and not giving up because, you know, so often we start and we feel like something is so overwhelming or daunting. And if we just continue on and persevere, then things will start falling into place. And I really need to just remember that even if I have a bad day, just remember that things are going to turn out okay. Just keep on working at it, even if it's one step at a time, and things will start falling into place.
Good. I agree. And a couple things I want to say is when you said the more you do the homework, the more your life changes, and that's what this is designed for. It's the more your level of participation in the new school equals your level of results. So it's really good that you recognize that, because it's annoying. Nobody wants to do like homework, and I got to start changing it to like self-care tasks instead of homework.
Yeah.
But when we do that, we take care of ourselves, we're in alignment, and everything else just flows.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's the first thing that I've said to everyone in the program, and I need to listen to myself more than anything. I'll admit that, right? But I do feel that way, you know? Um, it's hard to admit that, because we so often like, like, oh yeah, and sometimes it's you have a tough day and you can like, like take yourself off the hook, as we say in the New Year's school, and like, oh, it's okay, kind of take a little bit of time, and then just get back at it. It's life is it's a lifelong journey, and it's never going to be 100% complete until you die, but it's a journey, so you just continue working at it every day.
What type of person would you recommend the new school to?
I think I'd recommend the new school to, I mean, I've recommended to a lot of people personally, but anyone that's going through a tough time and that wants to change different areas of their life, right? Like relationships, finances, setting boundaries with people. And anyone that's going through a really difficult time in their life, they can really start to change themselves. And I think that will, once they do that, things will start falling into place. So that's who I'd recommend it to, especially if you've maybe just come out of something that's really traumatic. Um, you know, a lot of people look around and sometimes they'll go to a therapist or other things. But for me, what I liked that's different from, just going to therapy and someone asking me questions is that I'm actually taking action in my life to move forward, instead of just have someone tell me, right, or make me guess what I need to work at, which is okay, right? But I really need to have that action to progress. And without that, that's I think fairly, a bit more difficult to me.
100%. Yeah. My best friend always says like it's kind of useless without the action. And a lot of times people need that step by step.
Yeah, and even having someone to hold them accountable, right? So having you there, being a guide along the way where I can reach out to you or my cohort is really helpful. Which is really good, since we have a community to go to. And then, what am I thinking of? What was the question?
It was just that the action is more helpful.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I'm so proud of you. It's so exciting to see you back in the community. I love that you're coming to the events. I love that you're integrating the knowledge more. I can really tell that it's made a difference for you. So I'm just so happy.
Me as well. Thank you, Fallon.
You're welcome. So we'll check in with you at the end of the 6-month program, which is very exciting.
All right. Fantastic.
We'll see you then.
All right. Take care.
Bye.